Hello there, I'm Lee, aka a 20-something loser, and this is Strange Antiquities. Strange Antiquities is a brand new game that literally just came out on September 17th, and it's been a week and a half of me recording this. That we've already come out with the speed run of this. So this is the any percentage run. We're going to try and complete the game as fast as possible here. Strange Antiquities is a shop running game, kind of, to a degree. You are in charge of this shop. You've taken over for your Uncle Eli here. And the shop has a bunch of different occult antiquities throughout it. So throughout the game, people are going to come up to you, pretty much give you a whole bunch of lore about the town that you live in, and it is up to you to decide what item to give them and uncover, kind of identifying each artifact, figuring out what item does each thing, because they all have their own properties, as well as choosing your own adventure here. So there are a bunch of different endings that you can choose for this game, and the fastest one that we found is called Ending 8, which you will see here in just a moment. I'm going to mute my mic now and come in with some background commentary once I'm finished with this run. So enjoy here. Hey, welcome to Lee Behind the Scenes here, giving you some extra commentary. As stated, Strange Antiquities is that dark, occult, and odd puzzle game. The time will start once we hit new game. And now it'll take us through 3 pages of lore to kind of set the scene as we move things around. We can't really skip this part, but as we go along. And here we are. Welcome to day 1. We start the game here by hitting the bell at the beginning of each day and after each customer to bring in the new person. The first gentleman that we just saw there is Eli, the shop owner, who gives us a book about thaumaturge, which is the whole entire point of this game. Pretty much what will happen is a different customer will come in after we click that bell. They are going to request an item. Sometimes the items are direct. They say, I want this item specifically. And you can go into that book and kind of read the description of it to try and figure out what item, what actual item that we have we can give to them. Or they might give like a vague description of like what they want the item is, and you have to search quickly through the book to try and actually figure out what it is that they want. This gentleman that is popped up here as well, his name is Edmund Bishop. He is a character that will be repeating throughout the game as well. And that is the end of day 1. Okay. At the end of each day, we will see a dialogue box of lore uncovering the story of 2 people and how one was overtaken by the darkness. As you can see here, there is also a little puzzle type thing here. It is a visual puzzle in which you have to trace the item using light to receive a clue card to where an item is located. The first one is a pair of handcuffs, which suggests the item is hidden across from the jail on the map. And if you see there, just a moment ago, I opened up the map. So what we will do is we will hit the bell, and then we will go and click on a different location on the map to find different items. And by clicking the bell and allowing the customer to come forward, they finish their dialogue speaking by the time it takes us to actually get the items off the map, right? We're trying to multitask here. We're speedrunners. We're trying to go fast here quite a bit. A lot of this is some of the same mechanics which were in the last game, which was Strange Horticulture, which is really fun. We are here on day 2. This day here is where we will see the option to make different choices. So here with Daisy, we have the option to either give her a binding seed or a Zia. Okay. There are going to be multiple options of giving one item or the other throughout the game, and that decision is going to impact the actual gameplay itself. And will lead you to the various different endings. So this ending is ending 8, but obviously there are endings 1 through 8. So there are many different endings that you can uncover here. Ending 8 just happens to be the fastest. Here at the end of day 2, the clue card shows kind of like an odd-shaped pillar, but it corresponds to a house located on the map of Undermere. Alrighty, here is day 3. This first character here is Francesca. She's the doctor. We will be seeing her many a times throughout the game. She is trying to help solve why these people have been overtaken by the darkness in the town right now. On the far right side of the screen, after we get out of this area, you can kind of see it here, but it's a little bit blurry. On the far right side of the screen, you can see that kind of day system, and it'll tell you what day you're on, the day of the week. There's a little character sheet there that'll tell you who is who within the town. And then on that right side, right past where it says day 3, right? That is our failure bar. If you give someone a wrong item or go to a wrong location on the map, that meter goes up. If it hits red, then you have to complete an escape puzzle of dice rolling to return to the shop. During that day 3 as well, we also saw Verona Green. She is the older woman that we saw there, who is also featured in Strange Horticulture. She is an occult scholar, well respected and well loved to very many people. Day 3 here is shows a key. We're not going to go find that item related to this card because it's not needed for this ending. And now we're on to day 4. Eli comes back. He gives us something, which we don't need for this ending, but it is there, to say the least. And Francesca also returns, asking for more items. Now you might be wondering, who is that adorable little cat that we see there in our shop? That is Jupiter. That is our familiar. Jupiter pretty much stays there during most of the endings of the game, and you should pet them daily, pretty much. If you end up in a fail puzzle, your friendship with Jupiter can actually help you to re-roll certain items as well. This day here again, Edmund Bishop returns, but he gives us a map of a castle, of Gleeston Castle, to explore more artifacts. So now our nightly cards can either be for Undermere, which is the town, or for the castle, and we have to figure out where each card belongs to. So this one here is a shape which turns into a hole, which literally matches exactly a room in the castle, which we will see in just a moment here of me going to explore that section. There we are. I click on that. It's the exact same hole. Again, you see the feature of us going from clicking in the shop here quickly and then immediately going to go and explore somewhere on the map. Allows us to get through more of the dialogue quickly instead of us just clicking immediately through. Day 5 again here is also where we have to make a choice. This is Rebecca Rose, aka the artist, whose eyesight is greatly diminished, so we had to choose between giving her an Aries Remnant, which allows colors, tones, light, and shadow to be felt through touch, or to give her a Spirit Eye, which allows the user to view another layer beneath the visible world. So this is where we give her the Spirit Eye. This here is Audrey Bell, aka the priest for followers of the warrior god Holgar, Audrey's known for having strong opinions about death and the afterlife, and perhaps forgetting the god she follows is best known for sending thousands of people reluctantly to it. Here, Audrey had asked for the Holgen Grim, which is a mask for a ritual related to death and the afterlife, and to ask for protection. Here, this image on our clue card at the end of day 5 shows a staircase, which leads towards a room on the 2nd floor of Gleaston Castle. And there we grab that item of those 2 talons. And we are on to day 6. We're going to meet a couple of important people here. The first one being Barton Potter, aka the Relic Hunter. He knows how to track down objects, and he knows them worth. knows what they're worth. He's one of the few who have ventured into the catacombs and has lived, which we will later gain access to from him. There is that Verona Green that I had previously mentioned as well. She gave us a book piece for an Ambra. And we're about to meet here Simone Green for the first time. She manages the collections at Wordsworth Library. She is also a character that was continued on from Strange Horticulture, and is Verona Green's daughter, and has followed in her footsteps, taking an interest in the occult writings as well. Simone was going to visit multiple times throughout to give us notes with clues, to uncover more items, and to assist with identifying items. Here at the end of day 6, this is the worst card drawing in the game. It depicts a statue pointing to the left, and the card corresponds to the forest on the opposite side of the map. Just because of how intricately detailed that card is, it is very hard to draw quickly. This is day 7. As you can see there at the bottom, there is something, somewhat of a like lever system here, which I messed up by clicking and trying to do too many things at once together. And I should have waited just for it to move along. But as you can see, if we put the right items on the bottom there, it'll open up a like secret entrance or secret area, which allows us to grab more items. We also gain a flower key on this day, right here, which unlocks the little compartment that was hidden within the desk there. Eli also returns here asking for a Scythian charm. And Francesca also returns here on this day asking for one of 2 things. Either the Restful Nether or the Witch's Finger. We give her the Restful Nether. Here's the end of day 7. The card here shows a castle tower, which relates to the tower on the bottom right side of the map. Closest to the sunset, furthest from the sunrise, which is the top, bottom right. Francesca returns here on day 8, this time asking for something for her sister as like a token of love, which is that Selenic totem that we have there. However, she warns us not to give her sister anything dangerous, but we are going to ignore what she asks for. And here Verona also returns asking for a Tenebrum cloak, which is used to create a sphere of enshrouding darkness that will cloak all within its reach. We give her this in order to assist her in snooping around a haunted house. Barton also returns here, as you can see. And we give him a Valant. in exchange for a map of the catacombs here, which we can now go and explore. And here is Dr. Francesca's sister, Bonnie. She comes in asking for a Corvin's Might to assist her in attempting to kill Barton for something he may or may not have done to their father. If you choose to not give the Corvin's Might and listen to Francesca, and instead give her the other option there, you might need to complete a little rescue mission for our dear beloved cat, Jupiter. Our end of day 8 card here gives a hint towards a specific shaped grave in the catacombs. Here is day 9. We are going to grab quite a few of the items that we have already collected and pretty much play through this day as normal. Simone returns again here, giving us kind of a clue. There is a system underneath this countertop here, which allows you to look at the energies behind each item to determine its like field, whether it's like Noctic or Diurnic or Wyxic or Selenic, I believe. There's more options too. But as stated, it's an occult puzzle game, so surprise. Lots of that stuff. This is the last time that we are going to see Verona here, as she is about to go missing until day 15. And our end of day 9 card here directs us towards the cross tombstone in the catacombs. This is day 10. There are 18 days in our system here. Day 10 sees a bit more visitors. And in case I didn't mention him quite yet, this is David, our mailman. He brings us mail pretty much every single day, most of them being clues to where different items are from different people. Of note on this day, we are going to see Audrey, the priest, return on this day asking for a veiled fen in just a little bit here. The veiled fen can be used to command attention from individuals or small groups of people, which public speakers sometimes use them as substitute for charisma. The veiled fen, as you can see, there's that like green eyeball pendant. And it's really interesting to have to identify it because you have to hide the eye pendant in a cabinet to see that the eye turns dark. The end of day 10 here directs you to a house on Edwards in Undermere that is at the central point of the image. So the 3 corners there show 3 different locations in Undermere. And we're going to click on that big house right there, right in the top, to grab a bones guard. Here's day 11. And here we see Dr. Francesca again returning, this time asking for that Ambra, which Verona had previously given us notes for, because now Verona has gone missing. The Ambra here is used to cause mental fog and causes the subject to become deeply disoriented. Our beloved Barton also returns this day, asking for a silent breath to allow his senses to predict things faster, as he was almost killed by Bonnie the night before with the Corvin's Might that we gave her. And before the end of each day, you could see I kind of put 2 of the 3 items down on those levers, and we can kind of like prep that because it'll stay overnight there. The end of day 11 here shows a sun and a moon directing attention towards a specific grave in the catacombs. And I did it correctly that time. As you can see, I clicked through a bunch of people, her speaking stuff, while I put the 3 items down at the below there. The gentleman that was right there, his name is Thaddeus White, which is Strange Antiquities owner, Eli's brother, who is the curator of Undermere's Museum of History. He leaves us with a pendant. And as you can see here, Francesca also returns, our doctor, asking for atomic needle, which is used to reach into the mind of the recently deceased. So she's trying to do some uncovering for us. Audrey also returns, but this time we have a choice of what to give her between a Morgan's Folly, which makes anyone who looks at it open to suggestibility, or Fortinance, which is used to enhance physical strength. And quite frankly, we don't want to give her any more physical strength. So we're going to give her that Morgan's Folly so that Audrey never returns, because we want as few visits to our shop as possible. The end of day 12 here, the card is a man's face, which directs you towards a room in the castle marked with the symbol of Jupiter. We can pretty much find out what any symbol on any of these objects are with some of the books that we have here. We have a book that is just on symbols, and we have a book that is just on gemstones now as well too. Day 13 here, we just saw a guy named James who's going to return twice because he can't decide what he actually wants to do with a family secret that is eating him alive. Barton is also going to return, asking for something to either open a stone doorway or to read the inscription on it to find out more information. So the 2 options that we have to give Barton, which will be the next person that arrives after we give this woman a Gray's Grace. Our 2 options to give him are a pit, which can be used to crack open solid rock, or a Babelia, which is used to aid in the translation of foreign text. We give him the pit so that he only returns 1 more time. Here at the end of day 13, the card depicts a sword in thorns, directing towards an object buried with a knight in the catacombs. Our first person to come to see us on this day, on day 14, is a guy named Thomas Pope. He was here earlier in the week. He's just coming to grab a little pendant here that we just picked up. But then Barton returns for 1 final time, and he pretty much says, "I'm out. Peace out. It's too much. I'm not trying to die." And then we never see him again. So, unfortunately, that's how that goes. Here we are, unlocking another item. This is a different puzzle here. After we put the 3 items on the bottom, it'll then pop up with a moon symbol. On the back of the clock there, there's a button in the corner in which you can flip the clock around to see which clock hands match up with which moon phase. And that was the numbers that we put in there. So that one was 9, 12, 3. Here as well, Thaddeus returns on this day. Asking for a witherance, to attempt to weaken something that he has at the museum. And then Francesca returns asking for a Gaudian siren to drown out the whispers of her patients that have been overtaken by the darkness, as it can be used to divert attention. The end of day 14 puzzle shows an axe, but the lore here in particular introduces the Nalian casket, which is a dark article, which is a class reserved for the most cursed objects and the most dangerous objects. Thaddeus locked this particular item away in the museum, and we learn to find out that the casket becomes missing. Here we are on day 15. We complete the day pretty much as normal here. This code here is 1164, which gives us a Dread Vivant, which we need to unlock more items. And this is the day that Verona Green returns. As you can see, her eyes are completely darkened out. We are going to give her an abrasive mether in attempts to purge unwanted memories. There is the end of day 15. Our card shows a ball of yarn leading to a specific grave in the catacombs that matches the pattern on the card, as you will see once we flips around here. So there's a pattern that goes and leads to a grave in the catacombs. Our next 2 days are our 2 longest days in the game, essentially. This is day 16. We're going to continue on. But it starts by finding items within the vault and in the kitchen in the castle. Again, we see that feature of clicking the bell and then going to explore somewhere else, so that we can multitask and that people talk a little bit faster. And then after this gentleman here, Francesca is going to return, the doctor, and pretty much tell us that all of her patients that had been overtaken by the darkness, they've now escaped. So, somebody had woken up. She was like, okay, let me loosen their restraints, see what's going on. And as it turns out, she became evil again. The person that was restraints were loosened, and she went to free all the other patients in there, and they all became violent, and now they've escaped. So the end of day 16, that card hints towards a gravestone with a specific moon pattern on it here. And here Thaddeus returns as well to say that he made things worse. And now all the people overtaken by darkness are looking for the casket. And when he went to move it, that it was missing. So we have a choice between giving him a Lunima to create an aura of unease to keep people away from the museum, or a Dread Vivant to siphon power away from oneself for a time. We're going to give him the Dread Vivant, as it's described as being one of the only ways to handle the more dangerous artifacts. we are going to complete the rest of the day here as normal as we prepare for the final day where we have to make a decision as to how this story ends and who we will be helping. There are a couple of different options as to who we can help, right? We can either go and help out Audrey the priest, or we can go and help out Eli, or we can get down to the very end and start to help out Eli and then betray his trust. And here we are on to day 18. Essentially, the lore here is saying that the casket wants to be opened. And our last card leads us to an item hidden below the library, which we don't need for the final little bit here, but on day 18, Eli pretty much tells us to go to the pit. At the pit, we place objects in a particular order and then use a Weixic cord to open the casket. Here we are. We're placing the sun bomb, the Tenerum cloak, the Fortnite, and the Witherance in order there. And the little snake one in the middle. Then we use that Weixic cord to open the casket. And we're going to curse the majority of the town. Time ends as soon as the journal page starts up here. And then this is revealed to be ending 8. A seductive power. The power of the casket could not be contained. I fear nothing. I feel nothing. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, as stated, this is the Strange Antiquities Any percentage run. This is the fastest run. Fastest ending. It just came out on September 17th, so I hope you got to enjoy this little bit of occult, odd puzzle making here. Thanks for watching. Catch y'all later. Bye.